Nagwa-viral ngayon sa social media ang magkakaanak na Pinoy na biktima ng isang racist sa Amerika.
Another incident of racism has gone viral online. A video posted on Facebook shows a woman verbally attacking an elderly Filipino couple aboard the Vancouver SkyTrain. The heated tirade started when the woman asked the couple to lower their voices. The pair then apologized, claiming that it was how they talk back home.
Bigla na lang itinulak ng isang lalaki ang naglalakad na 71 taong gulang na Asian sa Chinatown sa Amerika. Lumagapak sa kalsada ang matanda. Inatake rin ang ilang Asian sa loob ng convenience store na ito. Ang isa namang ito, dinambahan pa. Sa Seattle naman, biglang sinungalngal ng lalaki ang isang naglalakad na Asian. At kamakailan lang sa New York subway train, nilaslas na isang lalaki ang mukha ng isang Pilipino gamit ang box cutter. Wala raw ni isang tumulong sa 61 taong gulang na Pinoy. Ilan lamang ito sa dumadaming kaso ng hate crimes laban sa mga Asian Americans sa Amerika. Kaya pinag-iingat ng Philippine Embassy sa Amerika ang mga Pilipino roon. Sa mga Chinatown sa ilang lungsod, may mga naitala raw na pagnanakaw at pananakit. Bukod pa sa mga pandemic-related races na target ang mga Asian sa social media. Ang mga pag-atake, tinuligsa ng US Congress. Umabot na raw ito sa crisis point at hindi na ito dapat baliwalain.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, the Asian American community has been terrified by the alarming surge in anti-Asian bigotry across our nation.
Ang mga pag-atake raw na ganito, hindi kadalasang naire-report. Kaya hinihikayat nilang maging aktibo ang Asian Americans sa pagsusumbong.
They didn't know whether it was a hate crime. So what we need to do is for people to be sensitive at the time to take down the words. Because that the difference between just bullying and harassment, and that would be horrible enough, and a hate crime is we want to document the hate crimes.
Sa huling tala ng US Census Bureau, 22.6 million ang Asian sa Amerika. Mahigit 4 na milyon sa bilang na ito ay mga Pilipino. Sa Amerika, mahigit 4,000 na ang mga nabibiktima dahil sa kanilang lahi o pangkat na pinagmulan. 4.4% sa mga ito ay mga krimen laban sa mga Asian.
Once upon a time, about 100 years ago, around 1,200 Filipinos traveled to America from the Philippines, which is not an unusual situation in itself. I mean, Filipinos today immigrate abroad all the time in search of better wages and higher standards of living. But what made this case unique was that these Filipinos were going to America not to find a better life, but to be held as captives in the largest human history. Now, a human zoo is exactly what it sounds like, a public display of humans within an enclosed fence or cage, similar to how animals are exhibited in zoos today. In 1904, the St. Louis World's Fair in Missouri presented such an exhibit, showcasing thousands of indigenous people around the world, from African pygmies to the Ainu people of Japan. But by far, the largest and most popular exhibit in the fair was the Philippine Exposition, which took up a 47-acre area in the zoo and housed the 1,200 Filipino captives. Most of them were Igorots, indigenous Filipinos that live in the mountains of northern Luzon.
Good day everyone, we are the Group 1 and our topic is about advocacy journalism that tackles about the fact-based experience of an OFW while being racist.
Races is defined as a group of humans on shared physical or social qualities into categories generally viewed as distinct by society with the same characteristics, beliefs, and language. Racism was started on 1400s, and most issue about races is between black and white people during slavery colonization. It's been 613 years and still counting. And now, some Asian races, especially Filipino people, are experiencing it on abroad. Racism. The belief that human may be divided into separate and exclusive biological entities called races. That there is a causal link between inherited physical traits and traits of personality, intellectual, morality, and other cultural and behavioral features, and that some races are innately superior to others. It had a big effort on Filipinos' physical, emotions, and mental health. Victims of racism often become bitter, anxious, and angry, which can lead to violence. In this case, when an OFW experiences this kind of discrimination, thinking that they are not welcome in any country, they are fully covered of hatred and fear to interact with others. Filipino people are a kind of people who are very strong in all aspects just for their family. They all wanted to help their family to get out of poverty and provide all the needs and wants. And that's one of the main reasons why they are sacrificing to be alone in abroad, but because of racism, it became more difficult and challenging for them.
Does racism matter? Among Filipinos, OFW experience perhaps the most brutal form of racial injustice, especially domestic workers. In places like Singapore or the Gulf states, they tend to live in slave-like conditions. Unprotected by local laws, they tend subject to gross exploitation by recruiters, employers, and even embassy personnel. They are also vulnerable to being trafficked and sexual abuse. Symptomatic of this racial abjection is the way Filipina has to come to be synonymous with maid or caregiver in many places abroad. Like slaves, OFW are held captive, their movements severely restricted and monitored. Their employers usually keep their passport to prevent them from leaving. They are given very limited day offs or none at all, and they are often forbidden to intermarry with locals. Those who escape are referred to as runaway as if they are slaves. Local courts treat them as fugitives guilty of breaking their contracts, rather than as a victim or abuse. When caught, they are subject to imprisonment and deportation. They were accused of attracting white women, which led to the passing of an anti-miscegenation law. This interaction between Filipino men and white women were facilitated in part by the taxi dance hall often visited by the migrant population during the 1920s. These were merely racial prejudices.
This program is rated SPG. It contains scenes with themes, language, violence, sex, horror, or drugs which may not be suitable for children. Strong parental guidance is advised.
Here are the various incidents have gathered those overseas Filipino workers who have experienced racist. First is the racist verbal attack to Miss Belinda Panelo.
Good day everyone, I am Kevin Rampillo. I am here to report the racial discrimination of OFWs. Filipina XMTV VJ records racist rank from women in California. It's upsetting to know that there are still lots of people around the world who discriminate someone who's different from their race. A film actress and model Belinda Panelo won the MTV VJ Hunt in 1999 alongside AC Montel. She is known for her wacky and funny style of hosting her show MTV Mosh and Classic MTV. In 2003, the VJ left the show and married his boyfriend Joseph, whom she has a son. Her family currently resides in Los Angeles, California. In year 2019, VJ Belinda Panelo, a film actress who experienced racism in the South California city of Playa Vista. The Filipina was out getting coffee with her son when an unidentified woman started questioning what race she was. The American woman stated, "What are you? Doesn't even look human? Okay, get off our street. You do not belong in Playa Vista." Belinda Panelo responded to the angry woman and said, "Are you okay now?" However, the woman still continued her rant, saying she doesn't want the Filipina on her street. "No, I'm not. We don't want you here. This is our street. Leave us alone. We pay $10,000 to keep you out." An insulting response of the undefined woman to Belinda. Aside from that, the woman called Belinda and her son ugly, poor, and subhuman. The Filipina just stayed calm and record the American woman's rant. To continue the report about the issue of Miss Belinda, Miss Bea Tagulang.
The racist verbal attack to Miss Belinda Panelo.
Netizens expressed their reaction on the racist rant of the American woman to Belinda Panelo. Here are some of their comments on the post. From at Neutral Heart, mestiza pa si Belinda paano kung Pinay na Pinay pa itsura niya? Nakakaloka. From at Junjo151, if to be a human is like her, then I would not like to be one. From at Rich Tan, good job on Belinda. She was composed and did not stoop to that low-life racist, old supremacist woman.
Race she was.
It doesn't even look human. Okay, get off our street. You do not belong in Playa Vista.
Panelo then recorded the rant. In the video, Panelo could be heard calmly telling the unidentified woman that she bought coffee.
We're trying to make it a private street. Oh my God, but thank you for letting us know.
Build a wall for your private
No, thank you for letting us know.
In this issue, we found out that it doesn't matter if you are an artist, rich, or an influencer. You can experience discrimination by your look and race by others if they like to do. As a human, you have the rights to complain about your situation. And for all the racists out there, we please you to stop this because it may affect a lot of things, such as the thinking, behavior, and may cause a low self-esteem to others.
Filipino, Canadian racially abused and threatened at a Metro Vancouver bus.
Good day. I'm Diana, and I'm here to report about the Filipino-Canadian man became a target of a racist tirade while commuting on a bus in Barnaberry, Vancouver last week. Danilo Jimenez Jr., who was on his way to work, decided to film the incident over fears that his verbal assailant could do worse. Giving a phone camera, the man demands at the beginning of the video, "You want to shot in the head, buddy? You want to wrong you shot in the head? Take the fucking camera, good. You're fucking good, Chinaman." Another person, presumably the driver, can be heard calling out the belligerent community. "You're going to have to calm down. Can't talk people like that." However, the man only doubles down his rant. "You can take pictures of me either. You're fucking full of." He tells Jimenez, "Fuck you, Chinaman. You fucking cheat." The man continues his tirade with his reference to Canadian forefathers. Then he uses the N-word and gives Jimenez a finger of dropping off. "Fuck you. Good," he said. The incident, which of Cardinal Translate Balsino, Rules 123, has since been reported in the Metro Vancouver Transit Police as far person said they reflect such situations extremely seriously. We investigated every incident as thoroughly as we can. According to calls, Mike Yake told CTV News, we definitely, obviously, want to hold the individual accountable to all this disgusting work. As soon as the man boarded the bus, is allegedly started swearing that Jimenez, aside from using racial slurs, he allegedly accused Jimenez of being a spy, Chinese spy, of threatened to sexually assault his daughter. So thinking like security of my life, I took the cell phone and took the video. Jimenez told the Global News, I am little bit paranoid now.
Camera, buddy. Give me the camera. Y'all like me pictures of you? You want a shot in the head, buddy?
Danilo Jimenez was on his way to work early in the morning of Friday when a man got on the bus he was riding in. Jimenez said the man immediately singled him out and spewed a barrage of racial slurs against him. Jimenez said the man alternately called him a gook, a Chinaman sent to spy on him, a pedophile, and even the N-word. But when the man started uttering threats against Jimenez and his family, that's when Jimenez decided to film the tirade.
Filipinos celebrating birthday become target of racism in California resto.
Fearless Rasmi reporting about Filipino celebrity birthday become target of racism in California resto. Last July 8, 2020, another Filipino citizen experienced a racism in California. Let us know what happened to the family of Mr. Orosa. A night of celebration quickly soars for this Filipino family when they become the target of racist remarks in a restaurant in San Francisco, California. In Marcos Pulido's report on 24 Horas, Raymond Orosa said they were celebrating his wife's birthday in a restaurant when they disturbed by another customer. Michael Lovehouse, who was later found to be the chief executive officer of a tech-based company, was recorded on video giving the family the dirty finger and cursing at them. Lovehouse had told the family that United States President Donald Trump gonna fuck them and called them Asian pieces of shit. He also told them that they need to leave. Orosa said that this was the first time to experience a racism in America. I never felt racism in America for the almost 26 years of me being here. And that night, I felt it firsthand, so I was really surprised. Orosa said, I actually don't know what triggered it. You know, all I know is that he reacted the way and he addressed it to us. In fact, he was looking at the camera, he added. Due to the harsh remarks, a server of the restaurant immediately defended family and ordered the man to leave. Get out of here. You are not allowed here. No, you do not talk to our guests like that. Get out now. They are valued guests. You are not allowed here ever again, the server said. According to Orosa, the man continued to insult them even as he left the restaurant. Hanggang sa lumabas siya, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pagsasabi niya yung packing Asians niya. Yung we should get the packing out the country, he said. You live in San Francisco, ang daming Asians doon, and ang daming Filipino doon. I don't understand how he can live in a community full of Asians and hate Asians at the same time, he added. In a report of ABC7 News in America, Lovehouse said that his behavior in the video is appalling. This was clearly a moment where I lost control and made incredibly hurtful and divisive comments, he said. I would like to deeply apologize to the Chan family. I will take the time to reflect on my actions and work to understand the inequality that so many of those around me face every day, he added.
Now you're shy?
What's wrong with you?
Say it one more time!
Nag-dirty finger at ilang beses pang nagmura.
need to leave.
Oh, you need
You
to
do not talk
No,
about
you
guests
need
like
to
that.
leave.
What's wrong
You need to leave.
Asian piece of
Oh my God! Ang puntirya ng mga racist na pag-ataking yan, magkakaanak na Pinoy. Buti na lang at agad silang ipinagtanggol ng isa sa mga server ng kainan.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm out.
Get out. You are not allowed here.
I already put my
Don't talk to our guests like that. Get out now.
Who are these
They are valued guests.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Get
valued
out.
guests.
Yeah.
You're a racist.
Does this racism affect our OFW healthy bodies? Yes, because racism especially feels for emotional feelings through hard work that you receive from others. But some people are so wary as well. So sometimes they have physically hurt the other races and so we do this. Abuse and discrimination of OFW still happen in certain places abroad. Yes, abuses against domestic workers still happen. Typically, taking charging home and hidden from the public eye have garnered increased attention in recent years. The long list of abuses committed by employers and labor agents includes physical, psychological, and sexual abuse, forced confinement in the workplace, non-payment of wages, and excessively long working hours with no rest days. In the work situation, women and girls are trapped in situations of forced labor, are having trafficked into forced domestic work in conditions akin to slavery. How many OFWs abused and discriminated against in 2020? According to Senator Joel Villanueva, chairman of the committee, presented pictures of Philippine overseas labor officers or polos, which showed that in the middle is alone 4,302 cases of abuse were recorded last year. The polo data also included the number of contract violations committed against OFW, which totaled to 23,714, majority of which were reported in Middle Eastern countries. Villanueva cited exacerbating elements, which he said contribute to the abuse of Filipino migrant workers. He also lamented the execution of domestic workers from labor code or labor protection laws in 6 out of 8 countries in the Middle East.
Effects of racism. The effects of racism include fear, hatred, low self-esteem, cruelty, harassment, social conflict, and psychological pain. The Library of Congress notes that racism can prevent access to social services and opportunities, such as education, healthcare, and employment. Therefore, racism violates the civil rights of individuals. Physical health. The aforementioned systematic review trusted source found that experiencing racism is associated with poor mental health and to a lesser extent, poor physical health. There is considerable research to suggest that the stress is associated with experiencing racism can have long-lasting physical effects. Stress can elevate blood pressure and weaken the immune system, which in turn raises the risk of developing long-term health conditions. Racism is associated, trusted source, with the higher rates of stress, increasing a person of color's risk of developing high blood pressure. In fact, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's trusted source report that black people are more likely to have hypertension than any other racial or ethnic group. Stress as a result of racism can also lead to behaviors that may cause further risk to physical health. For example, research trusted source has found that discrimination is linked to higher rates of smoking, alcohol use, drug use, and unhealthful eating habits. Also, a 2019 study found that racist experience appears to increase influence African American people, raising the risk of developing chronic conditions such as heart disease and kidney disease. Another study found that unfair treatment of people of color has a significant consequential effect on sleep and psychological functioning in midlife. Many studies have cited structural racism within medical care as a key factor in poor physical health. For example, a 2000 study into racial bias pain management found a link between under-treating pain in Black patients and false biological beliefs, such as Black people's skin is thicker than white people's skin.
Good day everyone, I'm John B. Villarden, here to say that 2015 study trusted source found that compared with other racial groups, Black children with severe pain from appendicitis are less likely to receive pain medication. This suggests that racial bias is causing medical professionals to use their Schultz bias. Difference of pain for different racial groups, either inadvertently or purposefully, therefore administering care. Mental health. The 2015 mental analysis trusted source found that racism is twice as likely to affect mental health than physical health. Those the researchers sampled BIPOC who reported experiences of racism also experienced the following mental health issues like depression, stress, emotional distress, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, and suicidal thoughts. A 2011 mental analysis of studies into racism and mental health among Asian American people also revealed significant relationship between racial discrimination and depression and anxiety. A 2018 paper suggested that fear of racism itself is harmful and that it can undermine good mental health characteristics such as resilience, hope, and motivation. The paper who underlined how verbal and physical assault can be cause PTSD or the post-traumatic stress disorder.
One of the most common problems was racism. Racism is being treated different because of the race, skin color, or ethnicity that can affect someone's health. It can happen everywhere and anywhere. It can happen at school, at work, or at home. It can even happen within relationship or families. Verbal abuse about the way someone looks, stereotype about how someone might behave, or physical violence and bullying. Sometimes, racism is part of the structure and system that we live in, and sometimes, racism is subtle and difficult for other people to notice. The important thing is how you see the situation and how it makes you feel. We can spend a lot of time wondering whether we have been badly or unfairly treated because of our skin color, race, or ethnicity, or for some other reason, and it's not always totally clear. This can have a negative impact on mental health, so this can have a negative impact on mental health. We need change, and it's imperative that we begin the process. Individuals must be educated about diversity.